Hi guys, welcome back on the channel. Today we're going to fight a battle report until our 28 mm Barons armies are completed using my 10 mm. I unboxed them again recently. I remembered the brilliant mass battle effect they create and the beauty of it, and I decided to fight a battle report using Days of Nights rules, a rule set that I consider from best for smaller miniatures, 6, 10, 15 mm. They can accommodate 28. We're not going to talk about the rules in this battle report. We're going to see the strategy and maybe roll a couple of dice. But if you want to learn more about Days of Nights, I have flip-throughs, reviews, workshops that you can watch on the channel, and I will have them in this video, in the description and at the end. So we're fighting Crecy, so that's quite fun. What do we have? We have the French mounted knights here in 2 divisions, and the crossbowman, the Genoese crossbowman in the front. Here in the elevated position we have the Black Prince with his commanders and marshals and captains, men-at-arms, flanked by a longbowman and a cannon. In the extreme flank we have Northampton and Arundel, and in the back, in the top, in the famous mill, we have the king. So let's go a little bit and check the battlefield a little bit more in close-up. So here we have the Black Prince with his longbowman behind stakes. I couldn't find my 15 mm stakes, so I used the big ones. It's okay, it doesn't, well, it works a bit. And here is his division. In the top of the hill we have the king with his reserves, and here in the extreme flanks we have Northampton with his division equally deployed, same like the Black Prince, with the men-at-arms on the top, and the center flanked by longbowman and a cannon. Here, let's go to the French, where we have 2 large divisions of mounted knights commanded by the king, by the King of Bohemia, marshals, captains. We discussed about this, the crossbowman, and also in the extreme flank. Always they had also foot infantry. Nobody really remembers this, but they never took part in the battle after they see the massacre of their mounted knights. So we're going to start doing a couple of moves. We're going to start doing some rounds, and I will come back to you so we can see where are we. So we come back and see what is happening. The English had some successful shooting. They demoralized the French, some French units, but the French managed to rally, having their marshals attached. The marshal gives a +1 in the rally die for the opponent. And now the French are moving closer, and it's going to be quite interesting because now they're in close range. Obviously the longbow fire is more successful, and it can demoralize probably more units, and this could break the line of battle of the French. So it's quite substantial, important now for the English to start demoralizing French units. Here in the extreme flank, as you can see, the mounted are dividing and trying to attack Northampton here on the flank, the left flank of the Black Prince, and we'll see how this will work, but the main attack will be here on the Black Prince. So moving, this battle starts getting excited. The English manage to demoralize 2 units of heavy infantry, heavy cavalry of the French, falling behind. They cannot move towards the opponent unless they rally. If they get double demoralized, they cannot charge. Obviously, they have a -1 in melee. If they double demoralized, they have -1 in morale. But the marshal tried to rally them, but they didn't manage. Now, the French are attacking in all locations, also in the extreme flank where you see here they're charging at Northampton. Now we're going to have shooting, and it's quite critical shooting because it's in close range. They're almost in charge range. The English obviously have the stakes that will allow them to defend better, but things are looking now more interesting in the battlefield. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's roll some dice and see if the English can demoralize the French. So let's go to the action camera and see what's happening. The French managed to charge the English. Some French knights were demoralized, heavy cavalry demoralized. The second division of French is behind, but they're not closing up because they want to see what's going to happen here. The crossbowmen are ready to shoot. They cannot move and shoot at the same time, so they stay at their position so they can shoot the longbowmen. Here are the demoralized heavy cavalry that was not managed to rally. And here in the extreme flank, Northampton has been attacked by the French. Not very good shooting from Northampton, ready for the French to attack there, Northampton, there is a second division of French knights commanded by the king himself, and he's waiting to see what's going to happen. Again, quite interesting situation. The English didn't do perfectly, but they did well. They managed to break a bit the lines, and you see that the French did not attack coherently. Obviously, the English have the reserves of the king. So let's see what's going to happen in the next round. So we continue. The battle seems to be going crazy. The mounted knights cause fear, but the English passed the fear test and they were not demoralized. But here the mounted knights charged the cannon and they broke the cannon, and that's how they to interpenetrate the English. They can really attack them from the flanks. They will turn around. They'll be able, I didn't do it, to turn around now and attack the English from the flank. That's a big problem for the English. Let me zoom in. Because now the French managed to outflank them, and this will be a terrible situation. They are charged from everywhere, and there is a gap here that the second division of French knights can take advantage of. Here in the center we have shooting crossbow and longbow. There's nothing major happening, and but here the black princes who are basically the center of attack for the French. The focus is in trouble because of the gun. Let's go and see Northampton, what's happening. Here Northampton is attacked. They demoralized some French mounted heavy cavalry retainers. The center now, they will be fighting hand-to-hand combat with the men-at-arms and the foot knights. The commander, the French marshal, is there, but we still have French divisions coming from behind, the division of the king with his mounted knights, and also the division of the King of Bohemia, who is here behind again and waiting to see what's going to happen to this French attack. I think things are looking good for the French. We're going to see now how in hand-to-hand combat things work, and we're going to see what will be the reaction. Let's see some hand-to-hand combat here. Things are quite interesting. The English seem to have problem. It seems that the king must bring his reserves. So this is a very critical hand-to-hand combat with the English and the mounted knights. They have stakes, so the mounted knights didn't get their charge bonus, but they are strong. They have also the captains here who can help them, but and the stakes that created problems, and obviously they avoided the panic test because the knights got panic. But again, this situation is a quite vulnerable situation, especially now that the English are flanked. So we'll see what it will be developing here. So we have a big mess here. The English here were pushed back, double demoralized, but the French here were double demoralized, pushed back from the English lumberman, and now the King of Bohemia is coming to cover the gap. The English king is bringing his reinforcements to support the Black Prince's left flank, that right flank that is quite a lot compromised, and there is an issue still. The French army is broken, and the cohesion is not there. You don't have a line of battle, as you can see. You know, some here, let's see. Some of the heavy cavalry retainer units in the back, the crossbowmen are demoralized. They cannot move. They're blocking the movement of the king. So we'll see what's going to happen. In the other side, Northampton did well. He double demoralized the French. He pushed them back. He's controlling. He's still only one hand-to-hand combat being fought. He's doing quite good, but the bulk of the problem is at the Black Prince's side. Here, I think Northampton is doing quite well. He is controlling the situation. So let's see what's going to happen in the next couple of moves. So things are not looking good for the Black Prince. His extreme flank was totally destroyed. The King of Bohemia got a chance to take advantage of this gap. The king brought his captains from his reserves to close the gap. In the center, okay, the English are still holding, double demoralize the French. But here in the left flank of the English, things are looking really difficult. It's good that the reserves are coming from the king. So let's see what's going to happen. We're going to go to the action camp very soon. On the other side of the battlefield, you have all the crossbowmen were routed from the English, giving them quite a lot of victory points. But now the space is open for the king and his knights to start moving into the battle. Two of his knights are demoralized, so they're left behind. They have not been rallied. But the king is moving towards the fight. He'll steal the first division, and the Duke of Alencon is fighting, but they have been, let's say, divided. There's not a coherent attack due to the English doing good job in hand-to-hand combat. So still the extreme flank the left flank where Northampton is holding well in comparison to the Black Prince, who is in trouble. So the English line are a mess. The Black Prince decided to attack with his foot knights and try to compromise the second line of attack of the French mounted knights. Here the reserves are coming all for the left flank of the English, for the right flank of the English under the Black Prince, to try to close the gaps, stop them. It's a difficult situation here, but the Black Prince getting aggressive. Let's go to the action camera and see. So here we are with the action camera. The King of Bohemia is just outflanking with his divisions everywhere. The English longbowmen are in trouble. The king is bringing all the reinforcements to the left, to the right flank to protect the Black Prince. He stopped the attack here. In the center, the mounted knights were pushed. The second division is still not engaged, but the Black Prince with his foot knights attacked, tried to create a diversion, to remove the pressure from his division. And in the Black Prince's left flank, things are going okay. The mounted knights are still fighting, the foot knights are still fighting, and their longbowmen are in position controlled by Oxford. Here the French are demoralized, they are not rallied, so the division of the French knight is broken. Here on the other side, we can see that Northampton is doing okay. He pushed back the French knights, demoralized them. His center sallied forth and demoralized the French knights, who are, when they lose their impetus, they become a bit more vulnerable. Here it's not Northampton, but that's another issue. And I think the left flank of the English is doing okay in comparison to the right flank. The victory condition are obviously to kill the Black Prince or to kill the king, and then of course it's conditions to have to do with percentage. Still, we're not taking any panic tests or rally tests for the whole army. We need to lose 33%, but I think the French, with a little bit of push, especially from the flank, they can create big problems to the English. I think the deployment of the English should have been better. I should have done them maybe checkered to give some support to the longbowmen. This onslaught of mounted knights was quite a substantial charge, especially with I didn't roll very well for shooting. I didn't really roll very well, but we'll see what's going to happen. So I have some interesting development here. The kings of Bohemia and the commander of the French left flank, Alessandro, were captured. The units now are uncontrolled. They can't fight, but if they need to maneuver, they cannot. They need to bring another commander. The Black Prince here managed to kill and rout the mounted knights, and now he's outflanking the second division of mounted knights attacking, so compromising their attack. In the center, the English are in trouble. The gap is closed by the king's reserves, as you can see here on the left, but the English are in trouble. They've been attacked from the flanks. The captains are doing their best, but in the right flank of the Black Prince, Oxford is controlling the situation quite well. There is no problem. Let's see. So Oxford is doing well, is holding the line. So it's going okay. To the extreme flank, here Northampton is doing quite well. He's controlling the situation. He's pushing back the French. I don't see him having any problems at the moment. He doesn't need reserves. That's why all the reserves of the king went to the Black Prince, who is now charging forward at Agincourt with his knights and trying here, as you can see, he's outflanking the second line of attack. That was his strategy, trying to break this and not have a defensive attitude, try to have a more aggressive attitude. Although now he knows that his reserves, the reserves of his father, close the gaps, and although he's in trouble here, things on his left flank seem to be getting better, but still, you see he's in trouble. Many mounted knights are moving, but here on the side of Northampton, things I think are going quite well. He's controlling the situation. Not an easy task, but he's controlling the situation quite well. Okay, guys, and this looks horrendous for the English. The French totally outflanked the English, and they're going for the king. It's obviously his men-at-arms protecting him. The Black Prince is trying to support from the rear, but I think this is too late. Although the left flank survived, we can turn them around, but I think it's too late now. The Northampton's division is fine, has no problems. It's holding, but here it was actually very good die rolling from the French, destroying the English left flank, right flank. right flank, extreme right flank, and just entering using the two divisions of the king and the King of Bohemia, who broke the lines. And even if the first onslaught was controlled by the English with the reserves, the second attack from the King of Bohemia was not enough for them to control, while the remaining English forces were occupied with the other attacks of the French. The Black Prince tried to do a very valiant attack. He managed to break some English knights, some French knights, but he couldn't really manage anything else. The French were piling in the forces from the left flank. They were moving, they were passing. Mostly this in the extreme flank where you have Northampton, mostly the attack was to keep him occupied in order for him to send support for the Black Prince, and the supports of King Edward were not enough. Basically, they controlled the center. So you see how unoccupied and how well ordered the center of the Black Prince's unit is. But in the left flank, in the extreme right flank, where the French piled up the forces, that was a strategy with the King of Bohemia and Alencon. Even the reserves of the king were not enough to hold them. The Black Prince tried to do his best, and here he is. He manages to do something, but it was too little, too late. The French were piling up the forces, and they couldn't really resist. It's too late now for the English. The battle is over. So, guys, this is from me a very, very quick battle. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, we didn't do any die rolling. We just saw the miniatures and the strategy. I hope you enjoyed it. Not very good shooting from the English to create problems to the French. That was a die rolling issue. It was not an issue of anything else. A strategy for the French of piling up the forces on the left flank where I had the cannons, and I shouldn't have the cannons in the line of battle. The cannons should have been higher in shooting. This is a mistake of my deployment. The same almost happened to Northampton in the left flank of the English, but he managed to control it. But the issue was that the two generals, the Alencon, the Marshal, and the King of Bohemia were in this location of the extreme right flank of the English, aiming for this, let's say, weak point of the Black Prince's division. The Black Prince attacked. He tried to do his best, tried to take the initiative. He broke a lot of divisions of mounted knights, but until he managed to he managed to reinforce with his father's reserves his center, but until he managed to alleviate the center, his right flank was totally disrupted, and it became like a Swiss cheese. The French were crossing with the King of Bohemia and Alencon, and they were outflanked and they were destroyed. So this is from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.